What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tradin Jabs. I am your host, Jack Jablonski. Joining me today is a very special guest, the Short King himself, to talk about the undersized NHLers and the emergence and the impact that they're having. Pete Blackburn, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, man. Especially with this topic, you're the guy to talk to. Before we get into some of the personnel and some of the impact that they've had, you're the king of short kings. You're someone who's been very vocal on social media about giving them the proper attention that they deserve. In your mind, what makes the short king? Is what height, what weight? What's the physique?
Yeah, this is it's been discussed at length over the years and what actually constitutes short. And I've seen a lot of people who are like 5'8", 5'9", putting themselves in the short king category. And it's like, I don't know. I think that's close to average. Like you're probably short for an NHLer at that height. So I'm willing to go like 5'8" for like the cap of a NHL short king. So 5'8" and below, I think is where you're looking at the short king category. In like IRL average everyday guys, I think that it's probably a bit lower, like 5'7", 5'6" is where that the line is for an average Joe.
Well, let's validate here first to make sure that you're in that category. What do you stand in that?
I am a very very solid 5'6".
Well, you look at the NHL right now, and in general, the league, it's a copycat league. We've seen for so many years, having a big center and the impact that it's made, and then slowly in the last few years, we've really seen that emergence of some of these younger, smaller, more skilled players making themselves known in the league. We're in the Stanley Cup right now, at least at the time of this recording. You look at Cole Caufield. What is the impact that he's done and that turnaround that he's had with the Montreal Canadiens?
It's been awesome, and it's been entirely predictable. Like if you followed Cole Caufield's career arc, he scored 70 goals in like 50 games for the U.S. National Development Program, and then still slipped to I think what is it 15 in the draft,
Yeah.
and so like that coming into that draft, I was like, I hope that he doesn't slip outside the top 10 because he probably shouldn't based off of his body of work. But you kind of had that creeping feeling that he would because we'd seen this story before, and it was a good draft. Like there's a lot of good guys that went ahead of him, but based on the body of work and the skill set, Cole Caufield probably deserved to go higher than he did, but it wasn't surprising that he slipped a bit because for whatever reason, there is the hesitance to take some of these smaller guys, even though, like you mentioned, the league is transitioning to speed and skill, and it's not the hitting toughness league that it was. Obviously, that still plays a role, but you can have a guy who's 5'6", 5'7", be an impact player on the wing, especially when he can score goals at the rate that Cole Caufield scores.
Yeah, you lead me, right into that next thing that I wanted to bring up, and that's, the why factor. You talked about the speed and the skill and how it's changed the game. We've, all those 6'6" fighters on the fourth line, they're gone. And you have to be able to play hockey if you're going to be in an NHL team. For guys like Caufield or, DeBrink at 5'7", Tyler Johnson, all these guys, as you mentioned, are point getters. Why do you think that we've seen, the size become less of a factor now?
Yeah, I think it's just the shifting of the game and just there is more an emphasis on speed and skill and playing the puck and not always trying to play the body. And I mean, we've seen it too. Like it's not even just the forwards that you're getting smaller guys on the back end as well. And a lot of back in the day, a lot of it was you had to be tough, and it didn't matter if you were super slow on the back end. If you were big and you were a big body and you were strong and you could clear out the front of the net, like you had value. Now those guys are just getting roasted by, like, if you don't have the skill to go along with it, a lot of those guys are just getting turnstiled by these fast skilled players. So you're seeing smaller guys on the back end too who can skate and who can move the puck, and with an emphasis on pushing the puck up ice and just clearing the zone as like the most important and valued, emphasis or attribute of a defenseman. It doesn't really matter a lot of the times how big you are. It's just your ability to get the puck out of the zone. So, I think that's why we're seeing success from smaller guys, both up front and on the back end.
Yeah, well, for the sake of this next topic, I'm going to bump that 5'8" up to a 5'9". And the Kings recently acquired Viktor Arvidsson from Nashville for a second and a third. What are your initial thoughts on that? It seems like a win-win on both sides, but specifically for the Kings, what do you see in them adding in Viktor Arvidsson?
Yeah, I like the deal, and I like the deal for on both sides. Like I think that it makes sense because you have Nashville, who's probably exiting a window, and they're going to start trying to retool the roster and tweak things a bit. I think they were lucky to get into the playoffs in general this year, and I think that it's a really good pickup for the Kings because. You look at Arvidsson and what he brings to the table. He is a smaller guy, but he plays tough. He plays a hard-nosed game, and you can make the arguments that like he has trouble staying on the ice because of that stuff, and he has battled injuries. But when he's healthy, he's still very much an effective player, and he's got a great shot. He's got a lot of speed. He's a guy that I feel like very much feeds off the team that he plays on. Like the trajectory of the Predators has sort of coincided with Arvidsson's career trajectory. So, for the Kings, they get a guy who sort of fits that mold, and they're a team that I think is going to be on the up very soon. So if they're on the up and he's playing with good players, I think that he can thrive in LA, especially with a change of scenery. And, he's going to be able to score a lot of goals. And, I just think that at that cap hit, and he's still a relatively young player, it's a good pickup at cost.